Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Warbirds tournament and From the Depths. As always, I am your host, Chromoid, and today, in episode 13, we'll be watching the third quarterfinal match between the Vampire Mark 7 A1 by MMI and the A-20 Havoc by Tajimmer. I want to get over a few fun facts before we get into this match. These are two very special craft, and I think I'm safe to say this is one of the most anticipated matchups in the entire tournament. We'll start off with the Vampire here. The Vampire started its journey through this tournament in the back three brackets. Due to the way this was set up with 19 people joining, 19 entries, there were three initial brackets, and then there's another set of, I think, 5 or 6 brackets with 3 buys in them, or I think 5 buys in them. Anyway, the Vampires had to fight more battles than most in this tournament. In fact, it's had to fight more battles than any aircraft in this tournament so far, save for the RAC anti-commerce fighter, which we saw struck down in the last episode. It's a cool thing. It's made it a very long way. It's gone through 2 opponents compared to the Havoc's 1, although neither of them have been fighting pushovers almost all the way through this. Another cool thing is that the Vampire is exactly 6 RP underneath the 100,000 RP limit, and the Havoc is exactly 50 RP behind the Vampire. So the Vampire has 99,994 RP, and the Havoc has 99,944 RP. I think that's the right math. Anyway, these two are as maxed out as they possibly can get. 2 very different craft, 2 very unique fighting styles. One will win, and one will plunge into the ocean today. Let's get this battle underway. I will be riding the A-20 Havoc for this first round, and then we'll switch to the Vampire for the second. Warbirds ready? Let's dogfight. And right away, I suspect we're going to see some very quick turning on the part of both aircraft. Yep. There goes the Havoc turning quickly. There goes the Vampire. I think can turn almost as fast as a Havoc. Nope, Havoc turns faster, although the Vampire took longer to get into its turn. Havoc is going to start laying down with that massive gun. Tajimmer has not corrected me, so I'm going to keep calling it the 88mm cannon. It's supposed to emulate the 4 nose cannons that were on the legendary historical A-20 Havoc, I believe. Okay, let's get a bird's eye view of what this thing can do. Here we go. Yes. And there are those massive cannons. You just love that sound. The Vampire is nimble, though. Oh, never mind, it lost a piece. Let's see if we can get around. The Vampire does have a very unique gun. It can fire a lot faster than the A-20. You just heard the A-20 reload. I know for a fact the Vampire can fire faster than that, but I think the A-20's turning radius is going to be the Vampire's undoing if it cannot dodge these shells right here. And more pieces flying off the Vampire. It's just not able to turn in time. And with that damage, it's certainly not able to turn in time to hit that A-20. But it is a very, very tough aircraft. It's only lost a few control surfaces, as we can see. Some of those tailplanes have been hit by the frag grenades. Frag shells. They might as well be grenades for as big as they are. And the A-20 is already turned back around. It's trying to get a shot off, but now it's turning too quickly, and the Vampire is turning almost as fast as it can, and it cannot get a hold of it. And I wonder if the A-20 flies off now, if the Vampire, nope, it's going to keep turning around. It's going to turn around and get on the back side of the Vampire. Target acquired. Oh, this is going to hurt. Oh, no. No, it's not. A-20? Hello? A-20? I'm not controlling the gun. I don't know what's gone wrong. It's not firing. It's had 2 clean shots at the Vampire and has not fired once. Maybe it's got a nose down. But now the Vampire's not going to get a shot off. They're very close to each other. 50, about 60 meters away from each other right there. These two are locked in a deadly duel. If one of them gets a shot now, it could be over. There it is. There's that burst. The unfortunate thing for the Havoc is that the vampire is almost completely made of metal, and all of its vulnerable surfaces, save for that tail, are inside that metal frame. MMI, I think, is very proud of this crafting. He has every right to be. It is the only one, well, it's the first of two, but so far it's the only one that's been able to last this long against the A-20 Havoc. Unfortunately, it's just not able to outturn the A-20 Havoc. That ACB controlled alternating rotor on the Havoc is really giving it an edge here. That vampire swooping really low, trying to pop up. No, it cannot. And it might fall into the ocean here, trying to get up there. Oh, yes. Oh, that is a shame. The vampire has crashed. Let's see if it can get back out of the water. It's trying. It's still turning, still trying to get a hold of that A-20 Havoc. We saw this happen with the T-33 Backrider. And there's quite a bit of outcry on the forums too. I don't think a lot of people liked seeing the T-33 go down as fast as it did. The vampire has also been... I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just trying to turn so quickly that it's keeping itself in the water. Oh, but it's back out. It's back out, ladies and gentlemen. The vampire has climbed out of the water underneath the A-20 Havoc, and now if the A-20 overshoots... Oh no, the vampire's too fast. The A-20 can't get its nose down. It can't get its nose down to shoot the juicy target. Oh, yes it can. Oh, I spoke too soon. Pieces fly out of the vampire, but it's still going. It does not give up easily, folks. This thing is tough. Oh, and those guns depress once more, and they miss, I think. Yes, they missed. They didn't knock anything off. But this is not good for the vampire. It's got a very, very angry A-20 on its tail, and it cannot shake it off. It's turning desperately, trying to keep up with the A-20, but the A-20 just will not let it get away from it. This is a turn fight for the ages, folks. I don't think the vampire can pull it out this round, but it's certainly going to try everything it has. Yeah. Look, it just spins in midair. It literally is rotating in midair. Oh, now the vampires hit the water again. Let's see if it can pull itself out one more time. It didn't lose a whole lot more than it did last time, so maybe if it flattens itself out, it can pull itself out of the water one more time. There it goes. There it goes. Yes, it's back up. If it can keep doing that without taking too much more damage from the A-20, oh, another piece flies off, but not much. If it can manage to outfly or come up right underneath the A-20 at the right moment without going above the ceiling, no, it's fine. It's fine. But now it's above the A-20, and the A-20 does not seem to change its altitude very much. No, it does not. Look at that. It's flying just about the same level. Now it's going to try to nose up. But we've seen this before. Nosing up and shooting seems to be a lot harder for most aircraft. Maybe the A-20 is different. But I doubt it. That gun only depresses so full. Okay. I spoke way too soon, but it can. Yeah, you see that? It just cannot hit as effectively. It's still got shots off. But like with the rack in the last fight, it can't get those big shells to land the way it wants them to. And the rack also had big frag rounds. Oh no. The A-20 almost touching the water there. Oh my, this is close. If the rack can put the A-20 in the water, I'm not sure the A-20 can pull itself back out. We'll have to see. The rack's going for another dip, it looks like. Yeah, it's going in slowly but surely, falling into the ocean. Wow. It's become a battle of attrition now. The A-20 is clearly the superior dogfighter, or turn fighter, I should say. I don't know about dogfighting, but it's clearly got the superior turning ability. But the vampire keeps going into this submarine mode and pulling itself back out, and that is allowed per the rules. If you can get back out, within a reasonable amount of time, and demonstrate an able capability to get back out of the water, you're allowed to continue. And there it is again. And eventually, that A-20 is going to overshoot, and the vampire is going to get the tail of it. Now let's see which way that A-20 decides to turn. The vampire's turning into it. Oh, they're turning into each other. Here we go. Oh, close range. Close range shot. Still no damage. Mark 7 A1 93%, A-20 Havoc 98%. The Mark 7 has hit something on the Havoc. It's managed to hit pieces of it. I don't know where it hit it, but the A-20 has not repaired it yet. I don't know if either of them have repair bots. Yeah, look, there's some damaged stuff over here. Pieces missing off the sides here. The Vampire's still in this, guys. It's not out. This is the longest an aircraft has lasted against the A-20. I suspect there are precious few aircraft in this tournament that can stand up to the A-20 like this. Even if it's not getting shots off on the A-20, it's still fighting. Oh my goodness, it's going to get a shot. Oh no. Almost. The A-20 spins so quickly. It nearly got a shot off, though. That Vampire's the quickest of the standard turn aircraft, is what I'm calling them. The ones that turn by rolling and yawing that I've seen so far. The A-20 is going to try to get a shot off right here, but I don't think it can. I don't think it can depress its gun that far. Oh man, the Vampire, it needs more speed. It needs more speed. It needs a longer attack run. It turns so quickly after its target passes, and there it goes tumbling into the ocean again. And this is going to continue, I suspect, until either it is too damaged to keep popping out like this, or the A-20 makes a mistake and passes over at the wrong time. I know this is probably not as exciting as everyone wants to see, but this is quite. I mean, I think this is incredible. The Mark 7 is giving the A-20 a run for its money right now. It is, and let me tell you, folks, if it gets those cannons on the A-20 for any amount of time, especially on the tail, that A-20 is in big trouble. And actually, it's funny, the Vampire's speed is playing against it right now, because if it had been a little slower, the A-20 would have overshot it just now. Oh. Vampire dead ahead, sir. Okay, now we're going to spin back for that Vampire. It's just incredible how quickly this huge aircraft turns. Big old shot. Again, nothing. It's shooting for the body right now. And those frags do absolutely nothing against this metal hull. You want solid kinetic rounds for that. And the A-20 has none of that. It's like a ground attack aircraft. It really doesn't have... I mean, against a lot of the common wood targets that are in this tournament, it would do very well, and it already has once. I mean, it shredded the T-33 Backrider, and the T-33 was half metal, but this is all metal. There is not a scrap of... The only wood on here that I can see on the surface are these tail planes and those few wings that are attached to it. Here we go for another dip in the ocean. Not too concerned at this point. I'm pretty sure the Vampire can handle it. It's just a matter of who gets the right shot at the right time. A-20's coming around again. It's going to keep flying, trying to go over that Vampire. I'm telling you, the Vampire was just 15 to 20 meters per second slower. I think it might have already gotten some nice juicy shots on that A-20, because every time the A-20 is passed by while the Vampire came out, the Vampire was just a notch ahead of it. And as it came out, it could have probably overshot. The A-20 could have probably overshot the Vampire. The Vampire had been slower, but it wasn't. I'm still going to give it a few minutes, well, not a few minutes, maybe about a minute here to get out of the water, because it's still turning for that A-20. It's got to level out here, I think. If it comes up too flat, it might pan out and just sit there in the water, but I think it'll be alright. Oh no. Okay, it's going back under. Give it a second. I know I'm letting it stand there for a long time, but I let the axe stand there for a long time too. This is the quarterfinals. Everyone who's here has made it here through at least one, if not two battles, like this Vampire has. And you know, at this stage, they deserve to be here. And I'm not just going to knock them out real quick. I didn't knock anyone else out real quick either, I don't think, but you know what I mean. I give them a good chance to count them for themselves, especially if they're about to go out on a technicality. Now, the altitude thing, there's no give on that. Above 400 and you're out. That's just how it goes. But The underwater thing, I'm given room to play with that a bit. No one here built a submarine, and I appreciate that, so I'm not going to knock you guys out immediately if you fall in. Okay, this is a lot more distance than there have been in previous roundabouts. Maybe the vampire can get around just in time. No. Maybe, no. Almost. Neither of them got a shot, though. I mean, the vampire didn't get a shot, A-20 didn't get a shot, so it's anybody's game right now. Let's go back into the cockpit here. Now, so we just spin like a veritable top to acquire that vampire one more time. It really is a shame how I'd just like to see the vampire get a shot, But if I tweak any settings at this point, I could cost the A-20 the entire match, and that's just not fair. It's built the way it was accepted the way it is, and, it just gotta see if anyone has what it takes to outfly it. Oh no. Oh, that might have been it right there. That is a chunk of tail planes right there. Oh, it's still got a bunch of them. More surfaces getting sheared off. It's too far away from the Havoc now. The Havoc's getting several bursts off at a time, despite its slow-loading gun. And it only serves to make the Vampire's performance even worse as far as turning goes. It can no longer flip around as quickly as it once did. The A-20 remains on target and unfazed. Neither of them appear to have repair bots. They've spent everything they have on guns and armor. And I can appreciate, and speed, I think, in the Vampire's case. I can appreciate that. That is, they don't need to repair their damage. They'll take it like men, and then they'll go on and smash their opponent in the face. A-20 seems to be having a lot of trouble getting its gun to bear when it's in this rear position. It just cannot seem to aim at whatever it's chasing, which is a mercy for the Vampire, because it probably could have been dead several times over with that Havoc right on its tail like that. Look at cruising just above the water, and it goes into the water one more time. Let's see if it gets lucky now. There's a lot more tail planes missing. It might take a little while to come up. I don't know if it can come up. There are a ton of tail planes on that thing. It's not suffering at all, it seems. It's going to come straight up like this. Where's our A-20? Oh, this might be the chance that the Vampire has needed. It's coming out as the A-20 passes. The A-20 is going to loop back to get the Vampire. No, that came out in the A-20's favor. That came out so much in the A-20's favor. Oh, at short range, too. Even metal's going to have trouble piercing that. Or protecting from that. Seems this stuff did the job, though. I still have yet to see any dents on this hull. I think the frags are honestly, or the A-20s, I've said this before, I think the A-20's frags are set a little too far out when they explode to do as much damage as they could do. Either their frag cone's a little too wide, or they're set to burst just a little too early. And that's costing it some precious damage against this very, very tough target. And I know this is a rinse-repeat situation, but I don't want to change anything. I don't want to make this unfair for either opponent. They're both doing everything they can. And the Vampire's coming within just a hair's breadth of coming up behind the A-20. If the A-20 will loop around right now, and come up, if the Vampire can come up right, it might happen. The A-20 turned the wrong way. If it kept going the direction it had, I don't know, it might still. Vampire's coming up way too late, though. It's coming way too late. It's gonna get a turn in, I think, but it's not gonna beat enough. It's turning way too late, too. Look at that. It's not even trying to turn now. It may be too damaged to turn properly. It's just flying around, and it's not firing any of its guns. I think, ladies and gentlemen, the Vampire is about to lose this match. It keeps coming up and doing worse and worse every time, and the A-20 continues to hammer it. another burst of fire. On what it's going to come down to at this point is the A-20 knocking out the control surfaces on this aircraft. Oh, A-20 has just hit the water. Oh no. It's going into submarine mode as well. It's gotten tired of this. We're going to have an underwater dogfight. Or not. The A-20 said, nope. I'm a plane. I'm not supposed to be under here. Vampire can do that. I'm out. Look at that. It just cruises right back up. Jimmer, you made a very, very efficient aircraft, I must say. It knows when to call it quits, and it knows when to go after its target. And I'm not entirely sure its target. Oh my, would you look at that? The Vampire is coming back up again. This is the most resurfaces in one, I think we've seen in a single round, let alone a single match. It's still hammering away. It's still got most of its speed, it would seem, but it has almost no control anymore. No, it does have control. I stand corrected. It's still able to roll. Unfortunately, it only makes it a little more flatter and easier for the Havoc to hit. No. And it has not fired its guns at all in at least 5, if not 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take it out. It's done so well. It's at 81%, but it's done so well. And it's still flying, and it's still coming back out of the water, but it hasn't been able to shoot the A-20 at all, and it's just going to get worse. Every time it comes up in a bad position, the A-20 hits it and knocks more off of it. It's just going to be a battle of attrition at this point. The A-20 is definitely going to win. The only reason I wouldn't take it out just yet is if it could come up behind the A-20, and I just don't think it's going to. I don't think we're going to get that chance here. Every time it comes up, it's either too early or too late, and the A-20 gets a shot, and the Vampire goes back in the water. Oh man, such a shame. It's such a beautiful aircraft. They're both beautiful, but I'm afraid it's just going to be a matter of this happening over and over again until something critical goes and the Vampire's done. Come on, A-20, reload. Let's get this over with so we can get to round 2. I hate to be that way, but that's really what's come down to now. Nope, Vampire's going down again before I can get a third burst off. Maybe it's done, though. It's not. Oh, it is coming back up. Wow. Kudos to Amamai for creating a machine that can take this much punishment, even more than the T-33 did. I'm kind of curious to see what this would do against the T-33. Well, maybe we'll get to see that later before the end of this tournament. Oh, can it turn? Can it turn? Can it turn? No. Oh, I don't know why it didn't. No, it didn't turn. It didn't even try to turn towards that A-20. It had a beautiful lineup. A head-on right there, but now it gets to this height, and then it's like, oh yeah, now I'll turn. And it's way too late. Oh no. And just more pieces just sheared off. It's flying so very fast right now. It's still got almost all of its thrust. Let's see how fast. 72.10 meters per second. 72.20. It's flying way faster than this thing. As you can see, it's outflying it by about, at max speed, I think this is about 6 meters per second slower than the Vampire, but that doesn't matter. It can spin so fast to get back on its target. And I just think the Vampire, if it was going to do something, it should have done it right at the beginning of this match. It should have knocked something critical off of that A-20. Oh, come on, Vampire, turn. No, it's not going to. It's going to take a complete lucky shot at this point, and it's got to go through all of this. These are both all metal aircraft. The only thing wooden on them are these tailplanes. And, It's just such a shame that the vampire never got a real chance. This does have a repair bot on it. Okay, so it's just been slowly repairing. It's dipped to 99% now. Yeah, this is the Havoc's fight for sure. And the vampire's going. Oh, yeah, that's it, folks. The vampire's now lost most of its speed. It's at 22, 21, 20. It's falling. It's done. 20. Yeah. It's staying right at 20. It can't even keep itself in the air now. I don't think it'll be able to climb back out after that. Again, the A-20 kicking it around like a puppy. Oh my goodness, that thing is truly terrifying. It didn't do as much as quickly as it did with the T-33 because of the vampire's excellent construction, but now the vampire is done. It's stuck, and it has no more thrust to push itself back up out of the water. Its days of submarining are through. It will now remain a surface ship to the end of this round. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end. That is finally the end of round 1. I will restart this and we'll get on with round 2, riding from the vampire's perspective. Let's see if a little bit of luck will influence the next match. I'll see you in a minute. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to round 2 of the third quarterfinal match between the A-20 Havoc and the Vampire Mark 7A1. Last round, after many times of it jumping in and out of the water, of circling, of dodging and ducking, the A-20 finally whittled down the Mark 7 until it could no longer fly and fell into the ocean for the last time. Let's see if things are a bit different this round. We'll be riding in or on the Mark 7, and that's about it. Let's get this started. Warbirds ready? Dogfight. And again, another aircraft without a seat in it for little old me to ride in, so we'll be jumping on like this. Ooh, missed that by a country mile. The Mark 7 is already being brought under fire by the A-20 Havoc. It was not able to outturn it once more. It's flown very high. Not too high though. It's staying pretty high up, honestly. The A-20 is going to have trouble matching that height, I think. I'd imagine. 221. Oh, no, never mind. A-20 is coming right up to get it. Oh, a big burst of tailplanes off the back there. That's okay. The A-20's seen worse. It can certainly fly with worse. But it cannot turn in time to get those guns to bear. It almost did, and then it quit and ran away. It just cannot turn in time to face the A-20. And I suspect that's going to be the case for just about everything in this match. The only other craft I can think of that can turn that tightly is the Twitchy Shooty. But it's a matter of whether or not that craft, it almost got taken out by the axe, so we'll have to see if that craft even has what it takes to take out this A-20. Still, the Vampire is very much in this, and it's not out yet. It's going to probably do its submarine business again, which is fine. It almost got several shots off doing that. It's trying so hard. It's just turning so tightly, it's losing altitude, even though it has all of its thrust. And here we go. Said the Joker? I don't know. Nope, not quite. It's still able to stay out of the water. Oh, and it's got to flatten out. Oh, it almost got the A-20 right there. That was a nice turn. Unfortunately, it didn't finish up on that. It flew away, and now the A-20 is going to get what it's wanting. The back of the Vampire. And here come those frag rounds. Oh, how do I dodge this? Oh, lucky old me. Wow, this is truly not a comfortable seat to be in. I do not like that view right there. That gun is very menacing. Can he turn around in time? No, he can't. The A-20 closes just a hair too fast for the Vampire. It's only 6 meters per second slower. Check that. Yeah, it's actually 10 meters per second slower than the Vampire, but that's still enough to give it... the Vampire just can't it's got too long. It's got too short of an attack run for this kind of fight. It needs to really outdistance the A-20 and get itself around in time to put its guns on the thing. And I can almost guarantee you right now that if it hit one of those propellers, the A-20 would be completely done. Just a single hit to one of those propellers would unbalance the A-20's thrust. Oof, that did not sound fun. Yeah, it'll unbalance the A-20's thrust, and the A-20 will go into an unrecoverable spin and be eliminated, or at least provide an easier target. But it just cannot get itself around. I don't know why. It doesn't turn fast enough. You can see it's practically horizontal, parallel with the water, or perpendicular to the water right now, on its side, and it still cannot get a hold of that A-20. And it's probably going to go into the water here. I said that last time, but it didn't happen, so maybe this time I'll be right. Yep, there we go. Impact the water. Flatten back out. Let's see where we come up. This is really going to be its chance. It's got to get lucky here. It's got to come up at just the right time to catch the A-20 off guard. Unfortunately, A-20 was going the wrong direction, so it's going to come straight across the top of the Vampire as it emerges. Will the Vampire get a shot? Nope, it will not. The A-20 is going to turn on its tail right now. Or not. Yep, there it goes. Now it's turning on its tail. Sorry about that bit of an interruption. Yeah, folks, I don't really like the Vampire's chances here. It's performing very well, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Another tight loop. It's probably going to go back into the ocean again, simply because it's flying so low. Oh, okay, it pulled back up. It's going to go back to altitude again, but it's not getting enough altitude before it flips around. Maybe that's where it's set at. I don't know, but it's having to gain a lot of altitude before it flips around, and that gives this Havoc time to do this and fly underneath it, and more free damage for the Havoc. And the Vampire is just going to continue to degrade as it takes damage, because I don't think it has repair bots. I'm looking. No, nothing's being fixed. It has no repair bots. All the resources were spent. Oh, but we'll get a shot here. Nope, it won't get a shot here. No, I thought it would. That was close. It's almost matching the Havoc in terms of turn radius, and now it's getting these high altitude, long range engagements. Maybe it can pull something off, but every time that burst comes in, a little more control is lost for the Vampire, and I think it's just too little too late for it now. I think it's just not able to pull off a decent shot at the A-20 Havoc, and the A-20 keeps readjusting every time the Vampire turns to face it. So it doesn't even travel in a straight line, which would help the Vampire get around it a little better, even as it charges in like this. But yeah, I think we're stuck in another turn loop. And it's just going to keep going like this until eventually... And oh no, the Vampire had it. I thought maybe it could have turned inside. No. No, they're turning in a tight turning duel now. That's what the A-20 likes, this really tight short-range engagement where it can quickly outturn the Vampire. If the Vampire actually gets some distance on it, it almost matches the A-20's turn, but it's just too slow, and it just can't get its guns up enough to hit the Havoc. Of course, the Havoc is likewise struggling to hit the Vampire, so it's about even right now, but I think the favor is definitely in the Havoc's side, because it can turn faster, and it gets shots, and the Vampire does not. Simple as that. We'll see. I have been wrong several times before in this tournament, and I would love to be proven wrong here. I know MMI has built an amazing craft. The Vampire has been dominant in everyone's rounds. It's the first time I've seen it struggle. The very first time I've seen it actually have to work for its win to even stay in a fight. I mean, this is incredible. And it's going to hit the water more than likely. It just keeps losing altitude as it rolls. If it doesn't level out soon, it's not going to be able to hold. Nope, there it goes. Sploosh. But that's okay, as we've seen, the Vampire is part submarine. And untouchable while it's under the water, so the Havoc cannot hit it. Let's get a submarine view of this. And there we go. Climbing back out. Oh no, that's the worst possible position that the Vampire could have chosen. The very worst. The Havoc might get 2 bursts in on this one. And more tailplanes gone. And I'm telling you that the Vampire cannot afford many more shots like that. Those tailplanes, I don't know why, but that seems to be the only thing the Havoc hits. And every time it hits them, a little more goes, and a little less control is available to the Havoc. And you can see the Havoc just matches it in these tail chasing fights. The Vampire cannot outrun it. Even when it turns like this, the Havoc is going to loop back around way before the Vampire can even get halfway through its own turn. Look at this. And so by the time the Vampire gets turned around, even if the Havoc doesn't get shots off, neither does the Vampire. So it's all in the Havoc's favor right now, since it can get in a position where it can fire and the Vampire cannot. And now we're back in the submarine mode. And like I said last round, this is going to come down to luck. I hate that, but that's how it is. This is going to come down to whether or not the Vampire, I've lost the Havoc now, whether or not the Vampire can pull itself out of the water at just the right place to get behind the Havoc and get a shot at it. And I don't think it will this time. It's coming up way too late. I mean, it is coming up, it's coming way too late. Oh no. Ooh. It's not turning either. It doesn't turn as soon as it gets out of the water. It turns. Ooh, can it nose up? Can it hit it? Can it hit it? No. That was close. That was close, but not close enough. Close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear bombs. So, yeah. Another round. Another burst of flak. Nothing damaged this time. But now that Havoc is working on the propeller section of the Vampire. And once those props go, I'm fairly certain the Vampire will be gone very, very shortly after that's gone. Those props and its amazing turning are the only thing keeping it alive right now. That and the brief breaks it takes in the water. Yeah, 92%. Locked in a tight battle. Again, the last time we saw the Havoc fight, it didn't even take half as long as one of these rounds for it to finish off its opponent twice. And this time it's having to fight very hard just to get a lock on the Vampire. The Vampire is a slippery little craft, but unfortunately I have fallen off my craft. Okay, forget that. Wasn't much to see on there anyway. Unfortunately, the Vampire still, though it is making the Havoc work a lot harder, it still does not seem to have what it takes to bring it down or even hit it. I'm not sure why it couldn't hit it this time. It hit it last time, the first round. Got some shots into the Havoc. I think hit the tail and the wings a little bit, but yeah. It's another matter of if only I could get my guns to fire for the Vampire. 1 or 2 bursts from those, I am fairly certain, would put the Havoc in a lot of trouble because they are very, very scary guns. They don't look like it, but as MMI has said, they were chosen for their ability to put the most shots in, I think, a single meter out of all the guns he has available. And they're 6-barreled each, so that's a potential 12 shots in 1 to 2 meters, if his claim is correct. So, at this point, it's the Havoc's fight to lose. That's all it is. The Havoc has to make a critical mistake or get unlucky in order to lose this fight. I don't see it losing on being outmatched or getting shot at, honestly. It just has to get unlucky with the vampire coming up right on its tail in a prime position to shoot it, and I don't think that's going to happen. Two very beautiful aircraft, though. The vampire does kind of look very alien. The Havoc is probably one of the most traditional looking planes. I love the unorthodox Jimmer scheme right there. The color scheme is very... if you've ever seen Jimmer's craft, it's just very iconic of his style and his personality, I think. Vampire's going for another dip. And yes, I'm sorry to say this will continue until more damage is done from one side or the other. The vampire can easily keep doing this over and over again, although it seems to have more trouble with rolling as it comes out lately. It's not coming up flat like it used to before. There it goes. Now it's pitching up. And drops its tail down. And there's the Havoc waiting for it. Oh, hello. I thought you'd gone. I'm kind of frustrated by how the Havoc, in spite of being right on the vampire's tail most of the time, cannot seem to get shots off on it. Okay, I stand corrected, but yeah, usually it seems to just kind of bob its gun up and down and really struggle. Like the turning motion it has, thanks to its ACBs, is not quite enough to usually keep it on target, but that time it certainly was on target. And this, if it keeps doing that, it might be able to finish off the vampire right here. Look at it just spinning, and another shot. And now it's chasing the vampire down into the water. Ooh. Oh, they both fell. Well, we've seen the Havoc in this position before, and it can easily climb back out of the water. The vampire can too, if it's not critically damaged like it's just been. I'll have to see if it can come back up. They're turn fighting even under the water. Again, the Havoc just, nope, I'm out. Peace. If you want to float around down there, that's your business. I'm out. I'm a sky bird. I stay in the sky. The vampire's still game. It wants another round. It's trying so hard. That pilot's doing everything it can to bring it back up for one more round. Don't take me out yet, coach. I still got it. She's still got more fight left in her. I wouldn't want to take liberties with MMI's craft or character, but I think you would agree that there's a small girl in a purple aviation outfit right now, shaking her fist at the great blue bully on the tail of her beautiful aircraft, tearing it up. She's about ready to pop that hatch right now and start doing start yelling insults at the sky. Oh no. I'd probably try to do a Japanese anime impression right now, but I'm not female, I have no high pitch, and I have a lot of people sleeping upstairs above me right now, so A, I'd get in trouble, and B, y'all would be never wanting to watch one of my videos again, ever, because the noise you would hear would not be conducive to the human ear. Ooh, get some land action in now. Now this could change things. Terrain is always really wonky when it comes to AI. The AI likes to avoid it, and so it ends up going a lot higher than it normally would. I'm going to get back on my ride just to make sure it's not going outside of bounds. Yes, I'm going to be petty about that even though it's losing. Oh, good grief. There it is. I'm just going to sit here and watch. Oh, they're turn fighting over land now. That should be interesting. Oh well, we'll just watch it from here. It's not going above the altitude limit. They're both stuck in a altitude fight over a piece of land. And this is not good, because the vampire's doing the same thing it did last time, but now it ain't got the comfy, it does not have the comfy repose of the water in which to land, and if it goes too low at the wrong place, oh, it's all over the land here, isn't it? It is going to hit that terrain, and that will be the end of the vampire, because terrain collision is a pain. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe that is it. 2 damaged, yes. Oh, what a shame. Crashed out in the end. And a low altitude dogfight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Through this time a battle of attrition against a very worthy foe, I present to you your winner, the A-20 Havoc by Tajimmer. Congratulations to Jimmer. Your craft has succeeded again in outmaneuvering its opponent and will proceed on to the semifinals. And my deepest condolences to Amamai. Your aircraft flew so well, but a lot of exposed control surfaces, easy pickings for this frag rounds, and it flat out couldn't outturn that A-20. It came close, but it wasn't close enough. So until next time, folks, I have been Chromoid, and this is the Warbirds Tournament. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.